Hi everyone. So I have this pre-recorded video that you're going to use for today's lesson. I will be available via Google Hangouts if you have any specific questions. Let me tell you a little bit about this task for the start. So what you are going to do is in Schoology, you are going to open up these blank notes. It's in the lesson 15 folder. You will have about 15 to 20 minutes to complete this task. If you finish early, begin the review packet. There's 4 questions. It's in the summative resources folder. So at this point, I am going to tell you how this video works so you understand how to use it. I'm going to pause to let you go try these questions on your own. Then, if you restart the video, it will then go into some hints for each question. So if you get stuck, go listen to some of the hints. And then after that, it will then actually give you the answers as well. So you can check the work that you've actually done. So at this point, I'm going to pause so that you can all of a sudden try to these 3 questions on your own. So here are some of my hints for these questions. So below is a table showing the US federal income tax rate by bracket. Now this is the US federal, and the way that it works is we can start to say, okay, we are told that they are earning $110,000. So what you need to look is you have to figure out, where does that number fall into? That number falls in right here between 91,151 and 190,150. Therefore, they are paying 28% in tax. If, for example, the question had said instead, let's say that they were earning 37,652. Well, this extra one right here now shows that it's actually going to be in this bracket right here. So they'd be paying 25%. If all of a sudden they had a huge salary of, $400,000, well, $400,000 is in this tax bracket right here. So they're paying 33% tax. The review packet will give you the Italian tax bracket. I do not expect you to memorize this. If I want you to use it, I will give it to you. Here's my hint for question 2. One of the most important things, again, to think about, is this a increase or decrease? Start there. Increase means from the previous year, it's going to be going up, versus decrease is going down. And this is going to be important when you're finding that percentage. Last but not least, my hint for question 3. The 2 hints that I give is, 1, stay very organized. This is a multi-step question. So, label your steps. Step 1, what do you do first? And remember that when we're dealing with multi-step questions, what constitutes our 100% changes from step to step usually. So therefore, we have a new number representing our original 100%. So those are your hints. Pause this video. Again, go back to trying them on your own. And when you are done with the 3 of them, watch the video for the answers. So let's now go over the answers for these questions. So we are told that they were making 110,000. So that means they're paying 28%. Now there's 2 different ways in which we can actually go about answering this question. Now this question says, how much do they have after paying taxes? So I'm going to do this question in 2 different ways. Now the first way, I'm going to say, okay, method 1, I'm going to realize that they are paying 28% in tax. Now I'm going to use an equation because that is the most effective method. I'm going to say 28%, which is 0.28 as a decimal, times 110,000. Well, when I get this, I get the answer $30,800. This is what they pay in tax. Now, the question, though, was how much do they have after paying taxes? So what I now need to do is I need to do 110,000 minus the 30,800 that they paid in tax. And when I do that, I find that they end up having $79,200 after tax. So that's the answer to question one. Now, method two is realizing that if 28% is tax, well, I could do 100% minus that 28% and realize that they have 72% left over after taxes. So I can go straight to using this number and say 0.72 times the 110,000. And this ends up equaling $79,200 after tax. So either method will get us the same answer. Again, I use the equation. You can find, the unit rate, 1%, and then manipulate that to get 28% or 72%, and we'll still get you the same answers. So that's question one. Okay, so question two. We are told that the restaurant is reducing their staff, which means our start of 32 staff is our 100%, which means we have a percent decrease because I'm reducing to 28. So again, there's two different ways in which you can do this. You could do method one, where we could say, okay, well, my reducing in staff is 4 people. So therefore, what I can do is all of a sudden I can say, okay, we reduced 4 people out of the original 32. So we could say 4 out of the 32 people, which equals 0.125. Now I multiply this by 100 to turn it into a percentage, and I get 12.5% decrease in staff. So that's method one. Method two is I can just compare the new to the original. So I can say, well, I have 28 out of the 32. And when I do this, I end up getting the value 0.875, which this is 87.5% of the original 100% staff. 87.5% compared to 100%, well, I would say, okay, 100 minus the 87.5% is 12.5%. So again, it is still a reduction of 12.5%. So that's the answer to question two. Let's go on to question three. Question three. So again, we have multiple steps here. So first, Mr. Basting goes and purchases 3 soccer balls for 24 euros and a new pair of cleats for 110. Well, my step one is finding his total bill. So I say, okay, well, 3 times 24 soccer balls. This is 72 euros for all soccer balls. I'm going to add the 110 he spent on cleats, and I get 182 euros is his total bill. Again, write the few words because it's going to allow you to stay more organized with what you are doing. Now, step two is going to find my price after discount. Like all the other things we've been doing, there's still 2 ways in which we can do this. We can say, okay, find 15%, 0.15 of 182. Or we could realize that we could say, okay, instead of finding 15%, I can find 85% of 182. This is going to represent the discount. This is representing the price after discount. So if I do the first one and I say 0.15 times 182, I get 27.3, that's my discount, versus 0.85 times 182, and I get 154.7. Actually, I'm going to put the zeros because we're dealing with money. Now this is my discount. I would then have to subtract this from the price of the original payment. And when I do that, I get this. So this is my price after discount. So I've now found my price after discount. Again, you could have done this with ratios. You could have said 182 is equal to 100%. So you could all of a sudden say that 1.82 is equal to 1% because we divided by 100, divided by 100. So as I was saying, there's so many ways in which you could get that. Just make sure that your work is shown with it. We're then told that there's actually a 3% fee for shipping because he's having it ordered online. So price with shipping. So again, we can find what 3% is and then add it to our bill. Or we can know that this 3% is a percent increase. So we have 103%. So again, we can do this as saying 0.03. Now we have a new 100%. It's 154.70. Or we can say 1.03 times 154.70, because this will include the original 100% and the 3%. So I'm going to multiply by 1.03 because I'm going to go straight to the answer. And I'm going to get 159.341. I'm dealing with money, so I have to round to 2 decimal places. So it's 34 is my price final. So this is my final price for Mr. Baston. Again, if you had done the other method, you would have found 3% and have to add that to the 154.70. So these are the answers to these 3 questions. Now make sure if you are unsure on any of these questions, stop this video, ask some of your classmates to see if they can support you. Maybe they showed it in a different way that still derived the same answer that might make more sense to you. So I'm going to pause it there before going on. So the rest of the class is now working on the project, and this is your last day that you get to work on your project in class. Now, I want to highlight some of the things that I said. Now, you should be finishing up the project, which might mean assigning some work at home for each group member to make sure it's done. But you want to make sure that everyone can discuss all the content. You are most likely going to break up who talks about what slides. I know lots of you have worked on certain slides, so you're going to want to talk about those slides. But I may ask a different group member about the slide being presented. So for example, if one student's presenting, I might ask another person in the group a question about that slide. The idea is to make sure that you understand all of the content, not just what's on your slides. So, best of luck completing this. You should be for homework working on the review packet if you haven't, as well as finishing whatever you need for this project. Again, message me if you have any questions on Google Hangout.